Today we're going to begin solving multi-step equations. We're going to specifically focus in this lesson on equations with like terms and the distributive property. Your essential question is, what two steps should you do first when solving an equation? So take a minute, make sure you have your essential question written down, and then let's begin with our notes. So as we start adding in steps, we really need to think about what we need to do first to make our equation simpler or simplified. So some steps I want you to think about is do we have parentheses? If we do have parentheses, most of the time, and it doesn't have to be every time, we'll see some examples where maybe we don't have to do it every time, but most of the time this means we need to do the distributive property. Okay, sometimes we don't have to, but most of the time we do. The second thing we need to think about is, do we have like terms? Do you have terms that you can combine together? And if we do, then we need to do that. Again, not something you necessarily have to do, but it does make it 10,000 times easier if you do that. So we want to think about, do we have to have like terms? And I want you to keep in mind that like terms are on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, so we're not talking combining terms side to side. We're just talking about terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. These first two steps are our process of simplifying the equation. Okay? And then once we've got it all simplified, then all we need to think about doing is inverse operations to get the variable by itself or isolate the variable. Okay. So let's look at the first example. We do have some parentheses. So the first thing I would want to do is distribute. The 5m stays as is for right now. And then we're going to do 2 times m, and then 2 times 1, which was positive 2. Okay. Now let's look for some like terms. Remember, they have to be on the same side of the equal sign. So I've got 5m plus 2m, which makes 7m plus 2 equals 23. Now I've combined everything. I've simplified the equation as much as I possibly can, and now we're ready to do inverse operations to get the variable by itself. So I'm going to say minus 2. Now you don't have to draw all these lines unless that's something that really helps you. 7m equals 21. And then we would divide by 7 to cancel out this 7. And so m equals 3. This is our solution. Okay, let's look at the second one right here. Now, a piece about this equation is sometimes when our equal sign and a number is to the left, that bothers us a little bit. Remember, you could take this and move it to the back if that makes you feel a little bit more comfortable, but you also can solve it the way that it was. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is get rid of these parentheses. The 12y stays as is. We're going to distribute a negative 5, so this makes minus or negative 10y plus 35 equals negative 3. Okay, now I need to look for some like terms. Got some like terms right there. 12y minus 10y is 2y. Now my equation is completely simplified, and so I'm ready to start doing inverse operations. So I'm going to say minus 35 from both sides That gives me 2y equals, be careful with your integers, negative 38. Divide by 2, and I get y equals negative 19. Okay, the next one. Now, this one we have kind of some options. There isn't just one correct way to do this. We could distribute the 3 over 2 because we have parentheses. Or, because this is all there is, like in the first two problems we had some parentheses and some extra terms added or subtracted, but here it's just 3 over 2 times what's in parentheses. So one other option besides distributing here is to go ahead and cancel out 3 over 2. This is 3 over 2 times x minus 5. You should know that when we have fractions and we're trying to cancel them out, we can simply multiply by the reciprocal, which is the same thing as dividing by 3 over 2. So you could just multiply by the reciprocal on both sides to cancel it out. And so now we have x minus 5 equals negative 4. And so now look how easy that is. All we have to do now is add 5, and we get x equals 1. Now you could still distribute the 3 over 2 if you wanted, but that's maybe just a quicker and faster way to get rid of those unwanted fractions. Okay, let's try one more together. So I see some parentheses. We probably need to take care of it. So this is going to be x minus 3 minus x. Remember, if you want to put a 1 right there to kind of help you with that, you can. Plus 5 plus 2x equals 0. Okay, so I've got lots of like terms here. I have x minus x, which is 0, plus 2x would be 2x. I also have negative 3 plus 5, which is 2. And now I'm into a nice, pretty simplified equation. So minus 2 from both sides. 2x equals negative 2. Divide by 2. And x equals negative 1. Okay, so I want you to try the last two on your own. We will check those in class first thing the next class period.